everyone, and welcome to another episode of Smite Patch Analysis. This is patch 3.7, Grim Weaver, which sort of goes along with the whole fact that they've remodeled Arachne. So this is just a visual remodel, none of her abilities have actually changed, which I'm sort of glad and sort of not glad about. She's already been reworked and had all her abilities changed once in the past, not too long ago. But she still isn't really used overall that much. She's a strong god, she's not unplayable, and certainly at a casual level you can definitely destroy with her, but uh, she's never seen, especially in the jungle, in a competitive level, she's just not viable. I won't say she's not viable, she's just not played because other gods are better. As Incon said when making his tier list, um, it's not that Arachne's bad, it's just other gods are better, so she doesn't really get played. But anyway, so they've updated, obviously, all the mastery skins for Arachne. New god skins is the Grim Weaver Arachne, which is obviously what the whole patch is named after. So this, I believe, is going to be one of the skins in the event that's going on right now, the Escape from the Underworld, I believe it's called, event, along with the Grim Eclipse Hui and the Grim Shadow Nox. So I really like all of these skins. I love the Hades one, the Guan Yu one. So I'll definitely be picking those up. I really like those skins. Hunter's Moon Chang'e, just a tier 2 skin. Legion Hercules, and which looks really cool. And then we've got the Amaterasu Mastery skins, which look good as well. So new global emote, that looks pretty cool. Again, I'm going to put a link to the high-res patch notes livestream, so if you want to see sort of all of these things used in game, you can, and I'll also put a link to this webpage with all the patch notes on if you want to sort of read into them yourself. So those links will be down in the description. Just a quick note about the live stream: I will put the time that the Smite patch notes start, because it will be to the sort of the pre-recorded live stream, because obviously the actual live streams happened, so obviously it goes into their stream history. But they do the Paladins patch notes in the same bloody live stream, which is incredibly annoying. So I'll go through and find when the Smite ones start and put that time in the description for you guys as well. So new avatar escape icon, I guess this is part of the event as well, along with the Grim Gaze Ward. Those look really cool as well. A load of miscellaneous stuff and achievements, won't bother going through those. So item changes: Mail of Renewal fixed an issue where the passive would not proc when destroying a tower. Great. I guess that is actually a really significant issue for that item, although we don't see it get used anywhere near as much as it used to now that it doesn't give physical protection. Back in Season 2, towards the end, this was sort of a staple physical protection item, especially on junglers. Such as Thor, you definitely get this item just because of how strong the passive was, and it gave you physical protection. Then the passive got nerfed. I believe it now only regenerates 15% of mana and health after you take an objective or get a kill, or an assist, I believe, as well. Whereas it used to be 20% of your maximum health and mana, I think. But I'm not 100% sure, but it also doesn't give physical protections anymore. But it is still a good item in certain situations. Very balanced, I think. It's not overpowered, but it's certainly not useless, which is great. So, Throwing Dagger, the infamous pile of crap that's been plaguing ADC recently, and literally just everything, and it's really irritating. So I'm glad this is getting nerfed. And this is actually a really quick reaction from Hi-Rez. I'm very impressed with, they're clearly paying attention to what's happening in the SPL, and how things are being abused in the game and stuff like that, because this is a very quick patch from compared to what we've seen in the past. Sometimes things have remained broken for a very long time before Hi-Rez have actually reacted to it, but this has been very quick, and it's sort of made the ADC role a bit crap in my opinion, because Throwing Dagger is the tier 2 item leading into Golden Bow. It's worth, it used to be 1,300 gold, and it gives you the area of effect sort of thing on your auto attacks. So if you hit one minion, the damage would splash to the minions either side of that, and that's really strong for clearing early game, and you had to get that. If you didn't get that, you'd get outpushed in lane, you'd lose lane, the enemies would then hit level 5 before you, invade your boars, you'd be absolutely screwed in duo lane. You were even seeing, it just made ADCs so strong. You were seeing ADCs in mid and ADCs in solo just getting Throwing Dagger. We were even seeing it on Bakasora, just any auto attack gods were just getting this and absolutely clearing the hell out of everything, as if solo lane wasn't broken enough. They could now clear quicker if they were an auto-attacking god. So I'm really, really happy that this has been solved, because really I think that they need to aim for starter items being essential on every character, every god, except maybe in certain circumstances when you're doing a very, very specific build for a certain situation. I think in the majority of cases we need to aim for a balance where we are getting starter items at the start of the game, because that's what their purpose is. In jungle, you almost always get Bumba's Mask. There are some very, very few exceptions, but you almost always get Bumba's Mask. And then I just think we need to really make sure that Death's Toll is used, Bluestone Pendant's used, what's it called? Is it Vampiric? The name of the mage one is there's Soulstone, I think, is the purple one, and then is it Vampiric Shroud? I don't play mages at all. I play mages so little that I've completely forgotten the name of that. But I think it's Vampiric Shroud anyway. But yeah, I think I'm glad that people getting Throwing Dagger as a starter item, not good. Glad it's been nerfed. Reduced the physical power from 22 to 15, and increased the cost by 50 gold. So hopefully that's enough to sort of bring it down to balance. Maybe it'll need some more tweaking, but I'm impressed that Harrows have at least responded to this. So updated the passive icon for Chiron. Chiron's getting another nerf. Like, he's been nerfed every single patch, and now they're changing his passive icon. Like, for heaven's sake, leave the poor guy alone. Like, jeez, Hi-Rez, you shock me sometimes. But Jing Wei, so obviously she was released, and here's my opinion on Jing Wei. Compared to other gods on release, it's nice to see that she's not broken as hell. I think that she's a bit underpowered, though. I think she does very well in the solo lane because of her clear. With her 2, it's effectively Golden Bow. Especially with the whole sort of getting tier 2 Golden Bow, getting Throwing Dagger early on being so bloody broken as it was the past few weeks. Jing Wei was really, really capitalizing on that. But we'll see what they've done to us. So base physical power per level increased from 2.5 to 2.7. So yeah, I think they're going to be, overall they're going to be buffing her, because she was good in the solo lane, particularly with Throwing Dagger, but I think for an ADC she does need readjusting, and she certainly wasn't very good in the ADC role, in my opinion. So Persistent Gust, increased attack speed buff from, that's her 1, by the way. If you get knocked up in your own 1, you gain an attack speed buff. So it's gone from 25% at all ranks to a range from 20% all the way up to 40%, depending on the rank of that ability. So that's really, really good. That's going to be really, really strong at that max rank. A 40% attack speed buff is huge. So increased duration of attack speed buff from 5 seconds to 7 seconds, another great buff. Explosive bolts fixed an issue with this ability providing ammo without going on cooldown. Okay, so that's a little bug fix there. Agility using agility from the ground now removes basic attack movement penalty for 3 seconds. That I really like. That's like a sort of a Fatalis thing. So they're really going with this whole attack speed movement style with Jing Wei. That's very different to a lot of ADCs. I'm not sure how it's going to work. Hopefully it works well. But that's sort of like with her attack speed buff she's got, and then using agility. That is sort of a Fatalis effect, removing that basic attack movement penalty. Increase the buff duration from 5 to 6 seconds when agility is used from the air. So Airstrike, this is honestly one of the crappiest ultimates ever. It does literally nothing. Increased damage from ranging from 200 to 500 to 220 to 580. So that's made it a little bit more relevant, and also increased the landing range from 40 to 55. And I'm happy they've done that, because I think that the Airstrike ultimate is going to be, it has been used, and I reckon it will continue to be used more as a positioning and movement ability than it is for its damage. Its damage is not guaranteed at all, simply because it's a less controllable soul ult, and it's comparable, I guess, in a way to Kukulkan's ult, which is just really easy to avoid, hence why Kukulkan does get played. But obviously Airstrike does nowhere near as much damage as Kukulkan's ult does. So yeah, I think this is definitely a movement, an ultimate where people are going to use it for the movement rather than the damage. So I mean, I'm pleased they have increased the landing range. Really good buffs there for Jing Wei. So Nox, Siphon Darkness. Decrease the cooldown from 15 seconds to 13 seconds. Shadow Step, increase magical power scaling from 40% to 90%. That's huge. A Night Terror, which is our ultimate, I believe, damage reduction increased from 30% to 40%, and increased magical power scaling from 60% to 75%. So, that's really, really good. I think Nox did struggle a little bit. Some pro players, particularly MLC Stealth, because he's a god at all mages and all that sort of stuff, played really well with Nox, but I think from what I've seen in casuals and elsewhere, Nox was struggling against a lot of other mid lane gods, particularly like, Isis and all those sorts of gods that are really, really strong in the mid lane. If you ignore sort of matchups and just look at it in a more sort of casual perspective, Nox isn't as strong, so increased scaling is definitely on that two. There is that a two? Shadow Step. I don't know the names of the. No, that's a three because that's a dash thingy. Sorry, my mind went absolutely blank for a second there, but yeah, definitely. Definitely impressed with that because that's the thing where you can hide inside a teammate, which is incredible fun. And if you haven't done this, I really encourage you to do this. Get someone like an Apollo on your team or a Thor. You play Nox. Use your three to get inside of them as they ult. It's so much fun because you go flying. Or you can do it with a Jing Wei because when she leaves base, her passive makes her fly. If you're a Nox, you can use your three to get inside Jing Wei. That sounds really dodgy, but let's not go there. You know what I mean. And then you can fly along with her, and if your three runs out while you're in the air, you don't go down, you just wait till until you land. So that can actually do a lot of burst damage, especially if combined with a Thor or Apollo ult. Especially now they've increased the magical power scaling. So this may be something that you probably want to think of doing, not just for fun, but also for effectiveness, because that does sound like it would be very effective given this buff. So pleased with that. A Puch. Undead Surge increased the number of corpses dropped from 11122 to 11222. So you've only got to get to level your ability to level 3 rather than level 4 in order to get the 2 corpses. Fleeting Breath, decreased duration from 5 seconds to 4 seconds, increased damage per second from ranging from 25 to 37 to 30 to 50. Increased magical power scaling from 15% to 20% per tick. This ability no longer scales off of number of times healed. Increased additional damage on targets that healed from. You can read the numbers. I'm not going to go and read all of the numbers out, but that's quite a significant change there. Increased stun on targets that healed from 1 second plus half a second per stack to 1.5 seconds flat. So that's quite a big change actually. So they've in many ways simplified this ability because it's going to stun based upon it's just going to stun a flat amount depending on whether you got healed or not during that time this ability was on you, whereas before it would depend upon how many times you got healed, so that would really screw you over if you had some sort of tick-based heal on you, like an Aphrodite. That would really screw you over, but obviously that's not going to be the case quite so much anymore. You're still going to get stunned, but it's not going to sort of scale and punish you for being healed multiple times. So obviously a little bit of a buff to Ah Puch there. I've got no problem with that. Ah Puch is not. He's not broken, so I'm happy with him being buffed. And Hebo, finally. Atlas of the Yellow River. Wet paper, whatever you want to call it. Magic carpet. Rug of waterness. Okay, I made that one up, but whatever. Increased slow debuff from ranging from 20 to 40% to 30 to 50%. Increased speed buff from 20 to 40% to 30 to 50%. I'm happy about that. Honestly, to be honest, like Hebo is very, very strong. He has 3 ultimates. His 1, his 3, and his ultimate hit for so much damage. Especially if you build him glass cannon, but he has he doesn't have an escape for how squishy he is. Sometimes, especially if you build him glass cannon, like you're going to die almost instantly. He has no jump or anything, so obviously if he did have a jump, he'd be completely broken and definitely would need to be nerfed. But I think just sort of giving him a little bit of a buff on his sort of wet carpet, whatever you want to call it, is definitely a good change. Hebo's definitely not broken. That's not going to break anything. So yeah, I'm happy about that. So overall, looks like this has been a good patch. So yeah, before I end, I'm just going to mention obviously one thing that's not on the patch notes is that DMBrandon got removed in this patch. Yeah. So if you don't know what happened about DMBrandon, I'm going to make another video on this, giving my opinions, because I'm an opinionated git and I have a load to say about everything, and it'll probably land me in some shit, but I don't care. But yeah, I'll make another video voicing my opinions on that. Nothing probably you can probably guess what my opinions are going to be are going to be on it. Pretty standard. I'm not going to say anything completely outrageous. But yeah, DMBrandon basically he's known for saying controversial shit, and he basically got a donation from a guy that was obviously in a really bad place in his life and was considering committing suicide, and he said that obviously watching DMBrandon's stream and playing Smite had helped him get through that time, which is great. You know, like it's great that Smite and the stream could provide that for him. Obviously, a lot of people go through shit times in their life, and that's great that those sorts of things help them get through that. And obviously, suicide's not a good thing, but DMBrandon literally and he gave a donation to DMBrandon. Like, this guy is giving him money and thanking him for just being DMBrandon. I don't think DMBrandon gets told that a lot. Like, who the fuck thanks DMBrandon for being DMBrandon? But, you know, this guy, for whatever reason, liked watching his stream and thanked him. What does DM do? He goes around and, like, has a go at the guy. Like, that's not something you do. One, when someone gives you a donation, and two, when they're being nice to you, and three, when they almost kill themselves. I mean, to be honest, I don't know how playing Smite helped the guy. Like, there's always a bloody Loki, and that's enough to drive anyone insane. But, you know, like, you just don't say that to a person. Like, the guy, obviously, Smite was, and the stream was important to him, you just don't turn around and throw it back in his face. Like, obviously, half the thing of streaming, doing YouTube, and, you know, making games is to sort of provide people with fun, entertainment, and do you know what? That is often what gets people through difficult times in their lives. That's half of the reason why people do it. You don't go and throw that back in people's faces. And obviously, DMBrandon has left Hi-Rez as a result of this. Whether it's just a result of this, not too sure, though obviously what he says is going to be slightly different to what Hi-Rez say, is going to be slightly different to what all the rumour says, but for whatever reason, I'm sure this was a major contributing factor. DMBrandon has left Hi-Rez and will no longer be part of the casting team, so obviously I'll make a video a bit more on my opinions of that, even though I've just given a load of them, but, you know, I'll do another rant video on that so that I don't litter this patch analysis video because I need to go and eat because it's currently 11 at night in the UK and I was waiting for Hi-Rez to put the patch notes up. They didn't do it for ages, so I'm starving and I need to go to bed and stuff. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you stayed this long through my rant and random shit, then thank you very much. Hope you liked the video. If you did, leave a comment, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.